Hey there. Thank you so much for joining us for the second installment of our Lunch and Learn series on ecotourism. In this edition, I keep wanting to say episode, like this is a TV show or something that you're watching during your lunchtime. um, we are going to be hearing from Leslie Davis of Louisiana Sea Grant and LSU Ag Center. And she's going to be sharing with us about branding and marketing, how to get your name out there and remembered. But before we get into it, I just want to share a couple of quick things. As you may notice from the slide in front of you, we had an event last week on creating an LLC, where we heard from research attorney here at Louisiana Sea Grant, our research attorney, Melissa Daigle, and she shared about creating an LLC, just the basics of it and why you might consider creating one for your ecotourism business. That was a recorded event, and that recording will be made available in the next couple of weeks. And also something I want to mention is that next week we are having our third and final installment of this three-part series where we will be sharing a couple of examples of inspiration for creating your own ecotourism business. So to get started with today's event, just want to mention to everyone, as you probably already noticed, you came into this meeting on mute, and we ask that you please stay that way just to be respectful of our guest speaker, but also so that we're not all talking over the top of one another. You will have an opportunity to ask questions. Just use the chat function within Zoom, and we will get to those questions after the presentation. We'll have about 10 minutes for Q&A, and you can ask Leslie all of your ponderings about branding and marketing. And Leslie has very graciously agreed to follow up with folks on questions that we don't have time to answer as well. So with that, I do want to get on with our show. So I'm going to stop sharing, and Leslie, you can take it away.
Great. Hang on. Thanks, Emily. Nope, that's not what I wanted to share. This one. Ooh, too many tabs open on the screen. Okay, I'm hoping everybody can hear me. So as Emily said, I'm Leslie Davis. I have been with Sea Grant for about 8 years. I primarily work on the Louisiana Fisheries Forward program and alternative oyster culture, but I do have about 25 years in the marketing industry. So if you're wondering why I'm an expert, that is what makes that's about me and how I can give you this information. So let's go ahead and get started. This presentation is going to be focused on specific strategies for marketing your business, but I want to briefly touch on the importance of developing a full marketing plan before we get started. This plan should address the 4 P's, which are product, price, promotion, and place. So first, know your product. Clearly outline not only the services you will provide, but what makes them unique. Ecotourists will visit your business to obtain specific experiences they cannot get on other tours, such as learning about the environment and where their food comes from. Know your market or your target audience. Who are they? Are they millennials, couples, seniors, backpackers, foodies? Where do they live, and what regions of the country do you want to target? Be realistic about developing your target audience. Maybe start small, like in-state, and then broaden your scope as you go. And more importantly, where do they get information to make their traveling decisions? You can find this information by talking to current or potential customers, your local tourism agency, and other tourism-based operators who might be willing to share some insights. And I'll talk about some other ways you can gather information a little later on. To know your market, you must also know your competition. Are they successful? How will you differentiate yourself? How can you use and improve upon their marketing strategy? In essence, answer these questions and put it into a plan before you get started. I can't stress that enough. Okay, you may be thinking this is a duh moment, create a website, everybody knows that. But a website is your most important, valuable marketing tool. It allows you to reach all of your audiences in any part of the world using any device imaginable. I'm going to go through why a website is necessary as opposed to just a Facebook page, which also gives us tactics to implement along the way. So if you already have a website, this will still be relevant. And so we're going to go through these benefits of having a website. A great website can set you apart from the competition, tell a compelling story about who you are and what you offer, and make it easy to book a tour. Key elements include a stunning banner image that reflects your brand and what you offer, not too much clutter with easy navigation and clear calls to action. But what else makes a website functional for your business? Many websites have the ability to gather emails, which allows you to communicate with your current and potential customers. Other lead generating methods include contact forms, like for a contest or to ask for more information, gathering phone numbers for text messaging, with permission, of course, and adding a web chat feature to your site, which allows you to answer questions immediately and gather information. Regardless, 89% of marketers say that email serves as their primary channel for lead generation, and your website is one of the best places to snag those emails. Emails offer lots of flexibility to separate lists based on location and interest, and to personalize your message based on your audience. Now, I won't recommend any one service, but I will say that MailChimp still offers a basic free version for someone who is looking to get started. Today, people expect to be able to book a tour online. There are several options to provide this service. You can link to an external website, which is the simplest method there is, although it is no way represents what would be called a true integration. You can embed an iframe, which pulls the booking pages into your website visually. If you're using if you're using WordPress, you can install a plugin, or you can connect via an API, which is just a third-party software which allows two other programs to talk to each other. That might all sound like Greek to you, but it's important to research the options. This right here is a nice example of a linked program that shows up as a pop-up. Let me just say, these sites listed are not recommended by me. I don't have any personal experience with them, but they are there to give you a place to start and a place to maybe do some research. Use your website to analyze your target audience. I know I talk a lot about research, but there are free tools available to help you gather information about who visits your website, which then gives you the insight you need to refine your marketing plan as you go. The biggest powerhouse is Google, particularly Google Analytics. And by adding a small piece of code to your website, Google will track the number of website visitors you're getting and how many pages they visit, plus demographic and psychographic information like age and gender, their geographic location, and an overview of their interests, which is really great and a little bit scary. In addition, you can find information on how your visitors found you, either through search engine, social media, or referral from another site. Again, I realize I'm spending a lot of time on this, but this type of data is a gold mine, and making sure you're targeting the right people in the right locations. If you're using WordPress, consider the Yoast SEO plugin to add the code and other key information to the back end of your site. The second free Google product I'll recommend is Search Console, which allows you to see how you're performing on Google's search engine only. One of the best parts of Search Console is the ability to see what words people are using to find you. This is crucial and leads to my last key reason to have your own website rather than using social media alone, like a Facebook page. And that is to optimize your website to be found by search engines. Though SEO can be technical, I want to provide you with a few key steps that you can take to help you get found. Quality, authoritative content is the #1 driver of your search engine rankings. First, identify and target a specific keyword phrase for each page on your website. Think about words your potential customer might type into a search bar to find you. Once your keyword phrase is chosen for a given page, consider these questions. Can I use that keyword phrase in the page URL? And I don't know if you can see it up at the top there. There should be an arrow. Can I use it in the phrase in the page title? Can I use it in part or all of the headings and subheadings, as you see with the Honey Island Swamp Tour here? Beyond those elements, content is most influential on search engine rankings. Repeat your keyword phrase and others that you found to be important several times throughout the page. However, do not overdo it and keyword spam. That is, do not use keywords strung together to create content that doesn't really make sense. This site has used the keyword swamp in a creative way that feels intentional and not spammy. This page could be improved by adding links to other websites, like a tourism organization or a news site, or links to other pages within this site for additional information. Links are also very important to search engines. A few websites to help you find keywords to do your planning. And I should note that the Google Keyword Planner can now only be accessed through a Google Ads account. And of course, I mentioned Search Console prior. Search engines crawl websites on an ongoing basis. Regularly updated content is viewed as one of the best indicators of the site's relevancy, so be sure to keep it fresh. Writing additional content rich with keyword phrases on your site's blog is an easy way to do this. Blog posts don't have to be complicated. They can be shorter updates about the specific topics and tours you're promoting. One of the best ways to differentiate your message from that of your competitors is by highlighting the things that are new and exciting in your area. Keep visitors in the know about important events and unique goings-on around you. Put yourself in their shoes and showcase the things that would seem interesting, fun, and exciting if you were visiting from another part of the country and you had never experienced it before. Or better yet, create a guidebook. Your tourism marketing needs to be focused around the wants and needs of your customer, and a fun, informative guide is something they would consider extremely valuable. If you don't have time to create your own or the resources, promote your area's tourism guide. They have that. Promote that in a blog, but add your own super secret, locals only advice to set you apart. So we don't have time today to get into the details on metadata, but most website builders give you the option to choose your page title, as discussed before, and create a meta description for each page, which search engines will show in the search results. This should be a concise and appealing description of what is contained within that website, with the goal of encouraging people to enter. You should also add alt tags to every photo on your site. You do that using your content management system, which is a short description of that photo. Search engines rank you higher if you have it, plus you're helping visitors with disabilities to better access your website, so a win-win. So we covered a lot under websites that really goes beyond a website, like using an email service and search engine optimization. Hopefully you realize the benefit of putting in the work to create your own online presence. Getting your own website used to require a lot of tech wizardry, but thankfully we live in the age of easily online site builders. Again, I'm not recommending any of these. I'm just letting you know what's out there. There's also WordPress, which requires some technical help on the front end, but is easy to maintain once it's up and running. A final parting comment about websites. Most templates and services are built to be mobile friendly, but make sure that's the case before you commit. So a website is very important to your success, as it's working for you 24/7 all over the world. Linked to your website are important social media, such as a Facebook and our Instagram presence and a Twitter account. The more internet presence your business enjoys, the more chance that potential visitors will find you. So I won't go into platforms and which ones are best, because that varies from business to business. Social media is a great way to develop a personal relationship with your customers, as well as cost efficiently finding new customers. Do you have a source for great photos? Then consider Instagram and Pinterest. Maybe you have a knack for short videos. Then TikTok and YouTube will be very effective. The key is to create a plan to tie all your content together so that your message is consistent across all platforms. As you create your business page, this is the chance to make a lasting first impression to new customers. Though I haven't stressed it before, I will do so here. Great photography is the key to selling your business. If you see a website or a social media site you love, it's probably because they have fabulous photography. It is an investment worth making as you set up your marketing budget. I would just keep that in mind. If you don't know what you want to accomplish on social media, then you'll never know when you succeed or fail or fall short. Without this, you'll likely struggle to maintain a nimble strategy. So you should have already identified your audience doing research for your plan, which will help you figure out what messaging to share. Look at what has worked for you in the past and what is working for your competitors. I mean, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Create social media posts to automatically publish at the times and days of your choosing. If you sit down and create a calendar at the beginning of the month, it will save time in the long run. Here's an example from Sprout Social, but you can create an Excel file or schedule directly on the platform. Facebook is great about that. They have wonderful scheduling software that allows you to even pick optimal days and times. It can be difficult to grow the number of people who like your page without advertising, but it can be done with effort and consistency. Although simple posts of under 80 characters do fairly well, they perform better with links, photos, and videos, driving comments and shares. And I just have to say, I love that book now button. Sharing information others have posted is called curating content. And it's a good way to engage your customers without having to create the content yourself. So for tourism agencies, look for sites that complement what you offer and promote tourism in your area. This post right here is a great example of the golden nugget posting about another tour operator located nearby that is then retweeted by Visit Lake Charles. A challenge is when you challenge a group of people, this could be your email subscribers or Facebook fans, to do something for a certain amount of days. For example, if you're a tourism bureau trying to get people excited and thinking about your location, you could challenge your fans to share what they would do on a trip to your location. Ask them to share every day for 7 days what they would do when visiting, and you select one winner and provide them with a trip as a prize. This type of contest is a similar tactic, asking your followers to share your post. The goal really is to create easy, it's a way to create tons of awesome user-generated content. People love real-life examples of others using your product or visiting your destination. The trust generated from a positive review or even a challenge photo will be highly influential and help others get to know your brand. People buy from brands they like and trust. You can use those photos to create content for your blog and social media, or in an email as shown at right. Instagram does provide great opportunities for this. Influencers are people who have established a following around their personal online brand. Think bloggers, YouTube bloggers, Instagrammers, etc. Many influencers have large followings and a highly engaged audience. So what do? You find an influencer that caters to your industry and set up an exchange. It's a win-win. You help them create content and experience something new, and you get to expose your business to a new audience. So I talked a lot in the beginning of this presentation about search engines in relation to your website. There are so many ways to manage your reputation online by claiming your business listing. And like I said, we've discussed many Google products. This is the first step to take before using any of them. Set up a business account that is separate from your personal account. Use this account to log in and set up each Google service, Analytics, Search Console, and now Business Profile Manager. Start by searching for your company on the different search engines, whether you have a website or not. Does a local page come up, marked with a marker on a map? You have the opportunity to claim that page and manage it. This allows you to add photos, give correct information, respond to reviews, even promote specials and offers. Most importantly, it helps with your search engine rankings so people can find you. So to start creating your free local business listing on Google, go to the URL I have listed on the slide, and it walks you through the process from submitting your information to getting your listing verified. They'll send you a postcard, or you can even sometimes do it via phone or email. And then you wait for your listing to appear on Google. Verification can take about 2 weeks, but it's absolutely worth doing. Once your listing is live, here are some additional steps to take to optimize your profile and improve search engine ranking. I would say of this list, adding new photos and videos, keeping that fresh. Again, content always needs to be fresh, and managing and requesting Google reviews are the most important. Reviews, of course, build trust with your audience. They're also a big element in what and why Google ranks certain sites higher than others. So here's a screenshot of Yelp, a business review website. Claim this business, add photos, and then you'll also be aware and can respond if you get a review, good or bad. As Dwight Schrute once said, TripAdvisor is the lifeblood of the service industry. The site allows you to add your business, which can be a huge boon. TripAdvisor also offers ads and sponsored placements that may be worth the investment. Contact Lonely Planet, Rough Guides, Footprint, Frommer's, Folders, and other leading guidebook companies to request a listing. If you contact them, it doesn't necessarily guarantee a listing, but it means they know about the project. If you don't contact them, they may not find you. Contact local listings magazines as well, like online guides such as Travel Fish. This leads to my last and most important bit of marketing advice, and that is to create partnerships. Contact tour operators and travel agents in your region to let them know about your new business. Be prepared to discuss pricing and commissions up front, as these are private businesses and they'll want to make a profit out of the experience. Decide if you will offer a tour to one or a few of them for free to let them experience what you offer firsthand, or and also partner with an eager local boutique hotel or B&B owner who might want to offer a room to get in on educating that tour operator, and maybe a restaurant who might comp them a free meal. Forge relationships with tourism-related businesses that complement rather than compete with your business. Here's a great example from the Cajun Ninja, not a tour operator, but he has his own seasoning blend and cookbook. He's promoting a local restaurant, and he's partnered with Explore Homa to do it. Which leads to my next point, and that is to contact local, regional, and tourism agencies and other websites promoting ecotourism, sustainable tourism in your geographic audience area. Request a link to your website, request a recommended listing if possible. Consider signing up as a partner so they can promote your business online. This last recommendation is not a partner opportunity per se, but you should make an effort to cultivate a relationship with the regional media, and that is a partnership. Turn blog posts into press releases. Host a media day when you open or you offer a new tour or service. Communicate new events. If you weave your business into the fabric of your community, you are more likely to get a positive response. So one last word about running any type of business. You are on display at all times. You are your business, and word of mouth publicity trumps any paid advertising you might do. Never forget that perception is reality, and that your personal stories, when shared in your messaging on your website, on your social media, in my personal experience, have the biggest impact. I ran through that awfully fast. And I am done. Whew, I think I made it. I'm a little over, guys. So Emily.
That's awesome, Leslie. That was awesome. I always learn so much from working with my colleagues and hearing you all present. So thank you a lot for sharing about marketing and branding. We are going to go to questions. So I'm going to give you all a minute, the audience a minute to type in those questions. Leslie, is here to answer your questions. So just put them into the chat, please. While we're waiting, I have a question for you, Leslie.
Sure.
Actually, I have two questions for you.
You want me to
So,
stop share, Emily?
Yeah, no, that's yeah, sure, that's fine. You can stop share. Thank you. So a question for you. First question, what do you think is something that people most commonly overlook when they're doing their branding and marketing for a new business or for an old business?
Sure. I mean, nobody wants to hear this, but the planning. I think you look at it in terms of like more niche. So you look at your Facebook and your Instagram, and you look at your website, and you see them all as separate pieces. And so that's why I spent so much time on Google Analytics in the beginning, because setting up a marketing plan, writing it down makes a huge difference, and it gives you a different perspective when you have it on paper. It doesn't have to be anything formal, and there's lots of templates out there that you can use. But just trying to put it all together, and then coming up using that plan to create strategies going forward. Create a calendar, not just for social media, but your blog posts, so that all of your messaging ties together and is consistent. Does that help? Are you looking for a different answer? Anything besides the traditional planning?
No, I think that's good to know. No, you're the expert on this. Another question that I had while we're waiting for folks to put in a question in the chat. I was wondering, what do you think, besides planning, what's something that's challenging for folks? What's the intimidation factor, or maybe that is the challenge?
Well, I think the challenge, as a marketer for me, doing some work with Louisiana Sea Grant and others, is that the landscape is always changing. So you always have to try to learn new things. So, I mean, Google Business Profile was called Google My Business, was this. I mean, Facebook analytics change, and the way that the algorithms work change. And so you're constantly having to learn a new system. And I think that is extremely challenging. The other thing is just the technical aspects, particularly of like search engine optimization. Again, Google changes and I keep referring to Google, but that's just because they are the powerhouse. And if we're talking about getting started, I think Google's the place to start. They change their algorithms about what ranks you higher in search. And so you constantly have to pay attention to that. So that part is a big challenge, but also the technical aspects of search, trying to keep your website relevant and trying to get it found. I mean, that's how people are looking for you. They're looking on search engines and social media to some extent, but search engines are the biggie.
Thank you. While we're waiting for any more questions, Melissa, would you mind please putting in the chat the link to the feedback survey? Melissa's going to be sharing with you all a link to a quick, not even 5-minute survey, just to gather your feedback, because we want to hear from you all about what you thought about this event and the others in our series, and just we want to understand how to better serve you. So if there's topics that you wish that we'd cover, or things that maybe you really liked about this webinar, or things that could be improved for the future, please feel free to enter that into the survey. It's completely anonymous, so we won't know who said what.
I will say too, I really tried to focus on free things. Each topic, search engine optimization, booking tours, social media marketing, those are all could be topics to themselves. So I tried to give a high level overview. And even if you had a website, you could maybe pick up some things or some tips of how you can do things differently, like trying to partner with influencers or tour operators, or with people in your region. Didn't focus so much on paid. could be another topic for another time, but I just try to focus on things people could do themselves or with minimal help to get started.
That's really excellent. I know that I appreciate hearing those things as someone who likes to do stuff on the cheap, but I'm sure that that's also really helpful for our audience as well.
But I
Um,
would, if anyone has questions about paid marketing, I'm open.
Leslie, would you mind in the chat entering in your email address just in case anyone wants to follow up with you over email? Um,
Sure.
I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. This is, not the only opportunity. Obviously, you can reach out to myself or to Leslie directly with your questions. If you reach out to me, I will say that's an excellent question. I'm going to email Leslie with your question. So you can also just go straight to the source. But I think with that, we're gonna wrap up and say thank you. But I also want to give a quick shout out to Melissa Castleberry, who is our web coordinator with Louisiana Sea Grant. She's on the line, and she's been a huge support for the creation and the actual implementation of this series. So I want to give a big thanks to the woman behind the webcam. So thank you all so much for joining in. And don't forget that next week on Tuesday, June 21st, again at noon Central Time, we're going to be having the final installment of our three-part series on ecotourism. We're going to be hearing from Melissa Daigle, again, our research attorney with Louisiana Sea Grant, as well as Dr. Matt Bethel, also with Louisiana Sea Grant, talking about some ecotourism ventures that the Pointe-au-Chien Indian tribe has been undertaking the past few years, as well as Ed Lewandowski from Delaware Sea Grant, who's going to be talking about work with the Nanticoke Indian tribe, who have also been doing some ecotourism ventures as well. So you're going to hear perspective from both Louisiana and Delaware. So two different localities, but maybe get some ideas of inspiration, and also just learn some really cool stuff about indigenous knowledge as well. So again, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone for joining. As I mentioned, you'll get a wrap up email in the next couple weeks with recordings to each of these webinars. And a big thank you to you all for joining in. All right, see you all next week.